So it looks like IGN has published their final impressions video of Dragon's Dogma 2 and what's coming up down the pipeline. It's called Dragon's Dogma 2 Has Us Completely Hooked, or in this case, it says the title says us and then this says me. So I don't know which one is the actual real title of this piece. It's written by Destin Laguerre. If I mispronounce your last name, I apologize. I have not watched this yet, but I have been covering or reacting to, I should say, the IGN first look episodes they've been doing on this and all the vacation videos. So I'm looking forward to watching this with everybody. We're going to react to it, cut it down, slice it up, dice it up, figure out what we want to take away from it as we continue our prep for Dragon's Dogma 2. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hit the play button on this from the very beginning. The monsters look absolutely beautiful. I mean, the game looks...
I wasn't sure what to expect from Dragon's Dogma 2. I have Dark Arisen in my Steam library and a paltry 70 minutes of game time that is likely going to increase in the coming weeks. But while I may be inexperienced compared to those already aware of Dogma's greatness, I can safely say that my preview session broke my hype meter. I cannot wait to play more.
It looks amazing. I will say this, I have also been playing the first game as a first-timer. And there are things about the first game that I just don't like. And I've been very open about this as I've been playing through my playthrough. But it looks like a lot of the things that I don't necessarily care for in the first game are kind of related to them. It being an older game. Sorry guys, I had to bend down. I got a yoga mat that the cats are trying to destroy all of a sudden. It's an older game and it's got some jank to it. And this one has 12 years of technology, modern consoles. I'm going to be playing it on the Series X. And so it looks a lot more polished, and like a lot of the jank from the first one has been gotten rid of, and it looks like a much more polished version. So I'm excited. Obviously there are things that I'm not 100% on, but that's okay because I'm never 100% on any game unless it's like Baldur's Gate 3 or anything Star Wars. Anyway, it looks great so far.
After being dropped into a random save that started me in the middle of a town with the Mystic Spearhand vocation, I wasn't really sure where to go. But that was the beauty of this demo. Dragon's Dogma 2 organically gave me plenty of options for what to do next, and there's no wrong answer when it comes to how you want to play this game. I was almost immediately greeted by a traveler asking me to find their orb, because if it wasn't found, his master could have him killed.
That jewel was my last hope.
Morris, a shopkeeper, told me that his grandson Raj had gone missing, and a villager informed me that he was dragged off by wolves. When I started talking to people in town, I met folks who told me about a town that was overrun with fell beasts. All of these options were there to pursue in addition to the main storyline.
Very nice.
Yeah, none of these are even the main quest. And while I was probably supposed to do the main quest during my demo time, I decided to go it alone, jumping on an ox cart to the next town to see what else I could discover.
Why not,
Dragon's Dogma 2 really clicked with me because you need to constantly be on your toes. There are moments of downtime where you can just enjoy the vista or pose with a random ogre you've defeated. Wait, he's not dead? But more often than not, I was organically finding combat encounters and secrets that I wanted to investigate more, and that amazing loop was consistent as I made my journey back to town. Over the course of 80 minutes, I fought a griffin that flew me into the air and dropped me to my death. I discovered the untimely fate of Raj was affected by the fact that I decided to run off exploring the wilderness.
How unfortunate.
A completely different outcome than what Mitchell encountered during his IGN first playthrough a couple months ago. I took on an ogre that was protecting a treasure chest my pawn had led me to. Yeah, he sat on me. I turned down new pawns that I had met who wanted to become a part
I love
of my
that armor,
crew.
man.
I was ambushed by a group of bandits making camp, and all of this happened organically while I just explored this small sliver of a massive map. Even though I was probably supposed to do that main quest,
that is a big
Dragon's Dogma 2 had just provided me with a wealth of entertainment that I didn't want to walk away from while wandering around accomplishing nothing related to the main quest at all.
Yeah, that's a good world. That's good world building. Everything. It's kind of like I really appreciate the way they did the God of War side quests in the last couple of games.
Here's one example. I had a fight with this griffin earlier.
It felt really good.
Now, while trying to hunt him down for round 2, I've come upon its nest. I leap into action with flawless skill. And it would seem I'm taking this fight on a little early because it starts at daytime and goes until the game cycles to nighttime.
Oh, wow.
I ended up winning, but it took almost all of my resources. And I had so much fun doing this. Now, the Mystic Spearhand vocation was interesting, but as it was my first time playing Dragon Dogma 2, I wasn't able to showcase all of the abilities. Still, the focus of the provided build was clearly all about the spear and your character's ability to teleport to foes and deliver devastating blows.
Oh, that was a cool charge ability, you know.
The recent vocation trailer also teased a wealth of exciting options, like the ability to teleport directly on top of enemies before plunging your spear into their back, and an ability that teleports between status-afflicted foes
to
deliver a crushing blow. Getting to see what was possible just makes me want to go back and play even more. And if this isn't cheer liking, Dragon Dogma 2 has other vocations available. They include the Fighter, Archer,
I'm going to probably go Mystic Archer
Mage,
or Warfare.
Thief, Warrior, Sorcerer, Mystic Spearhand, Magic Archer.
That's the one I'm probably going to do. Or the Warfare.
Warfare, which is sort of a jack of all trades.
More than likely, I'll just go Magic Archer. I should be pretty happy with that because I'll get daggers.
Trickster, which we showed off as part of our IGN First coverage.
Trickster sounds
You are free to switch between each of these on the fly by simply talking to a vendor, and taking a peek at the options available makes it clear that each has a lot more depth.
They're going to make vocation switching a lot easier than the first game.
Than expected. The second vocation I had the chance to try was the Magic Archer, diving into the combat options.
Let me take a look. Because this is probably what I'm going to be playing. Okay, so we've got abilities on the left. Frost Hunter Bolt, Candescent Ore, Ricochet Hunter, Sedative Bolt, Flame Fang Arrow, Hailstone Bolt, Remedy Arrow, Recovery Arrow, and he's on one called Spark Chain Strike. Looses a stake imbued with magical lightning, piercing a hostile target to the ground. On the ground, sorry. If stakes land near to each other, crackling bolts land between them, dealing damage to foes. Standard press align button, pinpoint volley, rivet shot, press align button, then press it again, or press or release R1. So you can put two stakes in the ground, or you can put two stakes near to each other. Interesting. It says, okay, and he's got Flame Fang Arrow, Frost Hunter Bolt, Ricochet Hunter, and Remedy Arrow. Which I'm wondering what the shot is. I'm opening the door for a kitty cat, guys. I'm wondering what the one is where it shows in the Magical Archer video that I've seen, where it shows like the 7 or 8 yellow points all marked out on the mob, and you're getting ready to release this shot that's going to hit all those points at the same time. So cool.
The sheer amount of choices at your disposal is incredibly exciting. My Archer had 9 weapon skills to choose from, with Flame Fang Arrow, Ricochet Hunter, Frost Hunter Bolt, and Recovery Arrow selected.
Nice.
Flame Fang Arrow, at least in the build I played, seems incredibly overpowered.
Sounds good. I'll be using that bit.
But anyway, when the time came to jump over to play the second vocation, I began by being ambushed in a tavern town.
Boy, what's your problem?
Only to make quick work of my opponent by stun-locking them with Ricochet Hunter and Frost Hunter Bolt.
Nice.
It was an incredibly powerful combination, so powerful that the Griffin we encountered never stood a chance.
That is such a good shot.
In hindsight, I could have started this encounter a little better. Flame Fang Arrow simply devastated everything with ease. While doing a quest that took me into the mines to collect materials, I was blindsided by this thing.
Oh, hello. I can't
While letting
wait.
my pawns do their job, I fire Ricochet Arrow and Ice Arrows at the opponent, as well as the very powerful Flame Fang Arrow. Encounters like this and the Griffin encounter before really demonstrate how powerful the correct pawns are when paired with a good vocation. It also did a great job to break up what I thought was a mission to collect rocks.
I wonder if they're going to do the same way as the first one, where you have to continually change out your pawns. Because one of the things I really wish they would do is just you pick your pawns at the beginning and then you go with them from there. But this is part of the online component that they have, where people can send their pawns out to play with other players across the world. Kind of like, I think they did that in Assassin's Creed Valhalla too, with the heroes that you had, the Vikings. Anyway, I don't know how they're gonna work here, but I'm like 99, especially after hearing this and seeing a little bit more of the magic archer in question and him talking about the abilities. I'm like 99% locked into the magic archer now.
This was constant throughout my playthrough, and I love how the game just keeps you on your toes all the time. Well, the gameplay was amazing, and I can't wait to get back to play more. There was one concern. Well, the gameplay...
All right, so this is new because the first one doesn't have the camps. So he had an option to make a camp here or equip skills without camping, which is interesting. All right.
It was amazing, and I can't wait to get back to play more. There was one concern I've seen the community curious about, and that's the uncapped frame rate on console. When looking at this, it should be noted that I am playing a version which Capcom clearly states is still in development, and it's not equivalent to the final product. But in this build on PlayStation 5, Dragon Dogma 2 was averaging around 31 frames per second, with dips during heavy combat moments while playing with the PS5 set to output at 4K. I did not get to test at lower base resolutions or with variable refresh rate turned on during my time to see if that had a positive impact on performance. However, if I had one hope, it would be that Capcom added more options in the frame rate department, including, at minimum, a capped 30 frames per second mode on console.
Yeah,
that said,
hang on, I gotta pause here. They probably will, and I think most games do, where you have the option when you go in to either play in performance mode, which is like 60 frames a second with a bunch of stuff turned off, or at 4K locked at 30 frames. Because what I'll do with a lot of games is if I'm playing it here at the desk, I'll do it in performance mode when I'm streaming. I don't need to be doing all out, visuals when it's just, when I'm playing, streaming, and everything else, because there's just a ton of factors going on. But when it's just me and I go around and I get on the smart TV and it's the 50-inch and I'm immersing myself, I will absolutely go in there and toggle on that locked 4K mode at like 30 frames because I don't really care. It looks good, it feels good. I did that with Cyberpunk most recently. That game was amazing in 4K. So I have hopes that they'll do that for this, but you never know.
It was so fun that it was hard to walk away focused on anything other than my genuine excitement to play more. And as someone that primarily plays on PC, the frame rate didn't bother me that much because the gameplay is that fun. But I'm definitely going to play on my PC.
I've told people that for years. Like, frame rate is not that big of a deal. It can be for sticklers, but stuff like this is like, when it's fun, you're not, and especially depending on the type of game it is. Like, as an example, Baldur's Gate 3, you're never going to notice that it's not 30 frames per second unless you're super, 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 like, I would say, you have to have like perfectly smooth when you're turning and panning the camera, because on 30, you can definitely, it feels different than when you're on 60. But I've never needed 60 on anything other than like first-person shooter games or first-person games in general. Like, I'm fine with 30 on top-downs and stuff because it's like half the time I'm paused anyway doing turn-based gameplay. So it's like 60 frames is not that big of a deal to me. So I'm fine. It's gameplay. Like you said, gameplay can take you. It can help you not notice it unless we're talking single digits, and then it's horrible. But if it's 30 or above, yeah, most people aren't going to notice.
Demo ended in the dead of night, trying to help a character navigate the spirits, zombies, and monsters waiting for me in the darkness. But after playing almost 2.5 hours, there's no denying that Dragon Dogma 2 had me hooked. I cannot wait to play more on March 22nd. If you want to see more about Dragon Dogma 2, be sure to check out our IGN First coverage. And for more on all things gaming, keep it right here on IGN.
So I've covered probably 5 or 6 of their IGN videos, and then a whole bunch of stuff in Dragon Dogma's YouTube channel as well. Quick commercial break, everyone, to celebrate and give thanks to all of these amazing people who keep me on the air full time. Really appreciate the support. All you got to do is join as a member. You get access to private videos. You can also do super thanks on any upload or super chats and stickers on any live stream or premiere you see. And beyond that, don't forget we're multi-streaming over on Twitch now, so you can support over there as well. Thanks so much to everybody. Let's get back to the video at hand. There's genuinely been some really cool stuff coming out. I still am a tiny bit just nervous about certain things like where's that viewpoint at? I want to see that. Hang on. There it is. That view just looks so amazing. I am, the thing that has turned me off in a couple of the interviews and stuff, and that they did in the official press is things like kind of bragging in the press. Like they're actually doing interviews and they're bragging about how there's 30-minute fights in their game, and I'm not a fan of that. I like many aspects of fantasy RPGs, and I've been playing games for years and years and years, a very long time. And I've been raiding for a very long time in MMORPGs over the years. So I'm familiar with, boss fights that take 30 minutes or more, raids where you go on for 2 or 3 hours, and back in the day with EverQuest 1 doing raids where we'd be there for 12 to 14 hours. I don't really go in for games that have 30-minute boss fights. It's not a selling point to me. So that is a nervous factor. And I've seen so many people try to defend that statement from all different angles. My favorite is the ones who goes, "Oh no, that's not true. That's just if you go in and you're underleveled and if you go in and you've got the right skills and the right levels and everything else, it's not that big of a deal. They don't take that long." I beg to differ. It's one thing when you have people, who are bragging about it, but when you have the developers talking about how we don't like fast travel because it makes we want the world needs to be interesting. If the world isn't interesting, that's why you need fast travel. So they're making this bold claim that their game is so interesting and has so much going on that you're never going to need fast travel. And I just kind of look at that and shake my head a bit and go, "Come on now. That's, I've played thousands of video games in my time. Many of them you can wander and wander and wander and wander and wander. Red Dead Redemption 2 comes to mind. Witcher 3 comes to mind. And I still use the shit out of fast travel. At some point, as you're traveling and you're seeing it all, you're doing it all, you'll start to use fast travel. So it's kind of, I just don't, there's a little bit of hype factor around this that I'm not a big fan of. So the 30-minute boss thing kind of makes me shake my head, and I'm hopeful that the game is entertaining. I've had good times with the first one. I've also had some questions and concerns about the first one. Like I said, most of my concerns are related to combat jank, AI following. There's some really bad AI following in the first game, in Dark Arisen. I'm playing it on the Xbox. You can go watch some of my streams and videos. It's not good. The AI are constantly getting stuck on shit, and it's really frustrating to me. Like, that is a borderline, I don't want to play right now. I'm going to go walk away and come back on a different day, try it again, kind of scenario, because it's like and that seems to have been much improved in the videos I've seen for the second one. But I would also argue that that's a case of the tech moving forward, a decade at least in between them working on these two titles, and being able to refine that system down a little bit. The rest of it, 30-minute boss fights, we'll see. But the animations look amazing. The VFX looks amazing. The world looks good. I'm hoping that the story is really good. The story in the first game was mid, I would say. Mid to a little bit better in some places. But what I did enjoy from the first game were some of the deep RPG mechanics, like the lantern on your belt that you can turn on and off, right? It's a light source, but it uses oil, and so it's a resource that has to constantly be found. So there's a survival element there that is from the decade before survival games were really on the scene. So I think fans of survival games will be able to come into this and go, "Oh, I need food and resources to regenerate my health, to regenerate my stamina, and to do all of these other things with my character." I think there's another element here that's going on that's going to satisfy some people, because from an RPG's perspective, it has a very deep system. The vocations as classes is interesting. It seems to be way more flexible in the second game than the first one, with the ability to just switch in and out as you please, which I think is very cool. You can switch in and out in the first game, but there is, as I understand it, the second game is much more easier to do, so it's much less of a cost. It's more of just like, here's all these things available, have fun with whatever you want. As opposed to the first game, you have to pay, and things. We'll see how it pans out. I liked the resource component of the first game, with sort of needing to craft, things and continually use things to regenerate. That was fine. So there was a lot there I did like. the combat was okay in the first game. There were elements. I switched over to start trying the magic archer recently. My first playthrough I did as a sorcerer, and I just felt it was a little slow. You did get really powerful spells later on, but I never felt like I was a snappy sorcerer. It was always like, nope, I got to build power up. So it's like, yeah, you could just point your staff and pew, 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 but it never felt satisfying. Like I wanted to be able to like magic missile and be like shoot magic missiles from my fingertips, like bah, and instead it was like, oh no, first you plant your staff and then you focus and you build a meter and then you build a meter and then you build a meter and you move the targeting thing around and then you release the button. And it's like, it didn't feel very satisfying to me. It didn't feel punchy. One of the things I'm really looking forward to with Avowed coming up is they've showcased dual wielding wands, dual wielding pistols, the flintlocks, be able to have a grimoire and cast spells from a grimoire, but it's all snappy, fast action. The wands, boom, 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 boom. That is the fun type of spellcaster to me. So I wasn't a huge fan of that. But when I switched over to the archer to start testing an archer to build a magic archer out ahead of the second game, I've been having much more fun with that, and it's starting to feel a little better. It's a little more like, oh, now I can kind of, maybe I wonder if I tried a fighter, if it wouldn't feel like the mystical spearhand. Watching that gameplay footage from this video made me feel like I was watching a Witcher 3 clone. It really did look like a lot of what I loved and enjoyed in The Witcher 3. So I'm hoping that this second game has refined upon all those systems from the first one in such a way that it feels like a completely different game. I'm looking forward to it. We'll be playing it here on the channel, so make sure to like, subscribe, hit the bell icon, follow along so you never miss an update. Playlists below to all the things I do, including the Discord channel, the Patreon, and everything else. Thanks for tuning in, folks. Hopefully you're excited for Dragon's Dogma 2 as well. See you next time.